The new BATF rules would lead to illegal creation of a federal firearms registry that would require gun retailers to keep sale records beyond a 20-year requirement and turn them over to the ATF instead of destroying them, according to the suit. The final rule unconstitutionally subverts Congress's authority, exercising quintessentially legislative powers in a manner that could never pass either, let alone both houses of Congress today, which is precisely why defendants have no intent whatsoever to ask for legislative authorization to take such unprecedented actions. That's what the lawsuit says. Now think about that. They say, well, you know that you couldn't get this past Congress. You couldn't get it past either one of the houses of Congress. And that's why you're doing this through executive order. That's why you're doing this as a bureaucratic agency under the executive. That's what the BATF is under the executive branch. Where did we first see gun control by executive order? Well, that was under Trump. Precedent Trump set that. And he did it for bump stocks. And it was nonsense. And I don't think anybody other than the gun owners of America opposed him on it. And I believe they did oppose him on it. But now we have seen that used twice, presumably by Biden, to ban things, a brace as well as another thing. And now they're trying to do it again, this time by saying that gun parts are guns. What Trump said was a bump stock makes your gun a fully automatic weapon, and so forth. But this is even more absurd. And of course, the Democrats will continue to extend these precedents that Trump set out. Yet under our Constitution, said the lawsuit, the president and much less unelected and unaccountable bureaucrats within the executive branch, the president is not a king. And that includes you too, Donald. You're not a king who can exercise this sort of unbridled power unilaterally. Shame on the MAGA cult for giving him a pass on that. And all the people who were grifting over it because they were telling the MAGA people what they wanted to hear. That Trump was our savior. Made a lot of money, didn't they, doing that? Big audience doing that. Because ghost guns lack serial numbers marked on their firearms, law enforcement has an exceedingly difficult time tracing a ghost gun found at a crime scene back to an individual purchaser, said the White House in a statement at the time. This lawsuit revolves around a North Dakota resident, Eliezer Jimenez, who manufactures his own firearms from spare parts. He buys his parts online. And the lawsuit follows Congress's approval of legislation that expanded background checks and provides more funding for red flag gun laws. You know, those that take the gun and do the due process later, said Trump. Well, if you do the due process later, it ain't due process. This is Attorney General Mark Brinovich, who is suing them over the rules that would treat firearm parts as finished guns. By the way, I've seen that I think now Free Thought Project has picked up on the article we talked about. Actually, it wasn't an article. It was, they've done an article about it now, but it was just a social media thing that my son picked up. How in Houston, they'd set up a lot of money for a gun buyback program. This is out of Houston, and it's a buyback program of guns. Mayor Sylvester Turner set up a gun buyback program with the Houston Police Department. They did it this last Saturday, July 30th, at a Baptist church, the Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. So they set everything up there to buy back guns. And somebody went there and took a picture of the box of guns that they had bought back, the discarded guns. And if you look at the picture, you can see pictures of brightly colored 3D plastic guns. And it says, mixed in with the other firearms. Big shout out to whoever it was that turned in 62 3D printed guns for $150 each at the Houston Gun Buyback. And as one person points out, he says, so we verified this. We talked to the gentleman who sold these back, and they bought them back as non-functional for $50 each. There's a picture of it. See that? Look at that. They bought them back $50 each, with 63 of them sold back. So he made $3,150 out of an investment of $6 to $12 for the plastic. Give him a shout out. And this is One Safe Houston is the organization that's doing the gun buybacks. And they're going to spend $53 million buying back guns if people will sell that many of them. So if you've got a 3D printer, you might want to print some up and travel down to Houston, because they say there's no questions asked. If they're going to put you on a list or something to sell, I would not suggest that at all. But if it's a non-functioning firearm, you can get $50. And he got that times 63 for just printing up part of a 3D gun that is non-functioning. It's like, good for him. I'm glad he did. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of, I saw this once, Phyllis Schlafly, when Jesse Helms was in the Senate from North Carolina. She went to a place, and that's okay. Thank you. She went to an event, and they were selling toilet paper with Jesse Helms' face on it. And Phyllis Schlafly bought several different rolls of Jesse Helms toilet paper, and then she took them to a later event, and she sold them one sheet at a time to people. And it was, I forget what the multiple was, but it was unbelievable. And so she sold it a sheet at a time, and she gave the money to the Jesse Helms campaign at the time. And so this is the best owning of any of that stuff I've seen since that. That was a great tale of how to turn things around. The Common Man. They created Common Core to dumb down our children. They created Common Pass to track and control us. Their Commons Project to make sure the commoners own nothing. And the communist future. They see the common man as simple, unsophisticated, ordinary. But each of us has worth and dignity created in the image of God. That is what we have in common. That is what they want to take away. Their most powerful weapons are isolation, deception, intimidation. They desire to know everything about us while they hide everything from us. It's time to turn that around and expose what they want to hide. Please share the information and links you'll find at thedavidknightshow.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. If you can't support us financially, please keep us in your prayers. thedavidknightshow.com.